Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from New York Community Bank, Capital One Bank, Eastern Consolidated, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, the Witkoff Organization, Ariel Property Advisors, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Perfect Building Maintenance, Genova Burns. Additional funding has been provided by AKA Hotels Corming Communities, AmTrust Title Insurance Company, AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Citizens Bank, Cohen Equities, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, Connect One Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Dime Community Bank, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handro Properties Handler Real Estate Organization, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., iFunding, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Center at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Madison Realty Capital, Matone Group, Mercantile Commerce Bank, New Banks, Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, People's United Bank, Polsonelli, Rosewood Realty Services, SJP Properties, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Knackle Group at Cushman & Wakefield, the Moynihan Group, and These Friends.
Brooklyn, New York, PS 247, Sethlow Junior High School, Lafayette, Wharton, okay, Israel, Calvin Bullock, Loeb Rhodes, Steinhardt, Fine, Berkowitz, is that a delicatessen name? What is this? Yeah. Hedge funds. Nah, I'm going to go to Israel. I'm going to get involved. Hedge funds. I'm going to be the best trader in the market. I'm going to run the best hedge fund. You know, I got to dedicate my life to something. So I'm going to get involved with philanthropy, but really be a major Jewish philanthropist and help other people. So I have Michael Steinhardt in a two-part issue. So tell me a little bit about your grandparents, what you know about them.
On my mother's side, their name was Dollek, D-O-L-L-E-C-K, and his name was Abraham, and her name was Rachel, Ray.
Where they come from? Russia, you said?
Poland. And he died when I was a few years old in our apartment in Bensonhurst in Brooklyn. And my grandmother, Ray, she stayed with us until just after my bar mitzvah.
Let's talk about your father's side.
On my father's side, I never met my grandfather. All I knew about him was that he came from Russia, although the name Steinhardt is clearly a German name. And his wife, my grandmother, I met a few times. I remember her living in Brownsville in Brooklyn. Her name was Sophie.
Now, you said to me you're not sure how your mother and father met. We have a picture from your book, and there's a picture of them in Coney Island. And they were married in, what, 1940 or 1939?
Probably in 1939.
1939. And they had one son, you.
Yes.
And where were they living when you were born?
When I was born, they were living in Brooklyn. I'm not sure I know where, but they were living in Brooklyn, and then they separated, and my mother moved in with her parents, my grandparents, to 2169 72nd Street, which was off Bay Parkway in Bensonhurst in Brooklyn. My father, I never quite knew where he lived. He used to live
Your father was a character, a Damon Runyon type of individual.
Exactly right. My father was a character. He was smart and funny and had a bad temper.
But he was charitable, too. I don't know if it was charitable or he was outgoing. He liked to show people that he had some money. There was something about the $100.
Probably a bit more like that. I mean, I have this memory of going to the cemetery with him, and his rather grandiose gift to one of those old men who said prayers at graveside, and he gave him, instead of the $5 or $2, he gave him a $100 bill.
But you also said somewhere in one of the writings or something where I read, he used to like carrying a $100 bill.
My father always carried a huge amount of money, and I, for good or for bad, inherited that dubious trait.
But you probably, with regard to your trading, also some of his traits came out as in a way, right?
Well, over time, I've come to conclude that my ability as a trader was really an extension of gambling, of a willingness to take chances, to speculate. And if one were in the stock market for his entire career, as I was, you were supposed to think about your profession in a more serious way than being a gambler. But over time, I concluded that I was blessed in this respect by my father's willingness and ability and proclivity to liking to gamble. And he gambled on most everything. And I didn't gamble on very much at all other than the stock market.
Let's talk about growing up in Brooklyn in the Bensonhurst neighborhood. Tell me what you remember.
I remember a great deal about Bensonhurst. I remember it being, for me, a very happy childhood. I had no money, and my mother worked as a bookkeeper on the Lower West Side in an area that then was a wholesale fruit market. And she was a bookkeeper for my uncle. And as I said, I really had a very typical Jewish Brooklyn background, except for the divorce, because divorce wasn't so
prevalent.
Prevalent at that time.
So you went to PS 247.
I did.
And at the same time, you were going 5 days a week to Hebrew school, right?
Correct. I went to B'nai Isaac Hebrew School, which was on Avenue O between West 9th and West 8th Street. And I did that until my bar mitzvah in 1953. And it was an Orthodox-run synagogue, and the classes only had boys. And I didn't take it all that seriously.
What's interesting is when you were going for your bar mitzvah, you also had a good friend, Marty, I think?
Marty Taubman.
Right, and Marty used to take you to the Stiepel.
Correct. Marty had a grandfather who went to a little synagogue in the basement floor of a building on West 6th or West 7th, I'm not sure which now, and Marty took me, and the two of us went on Shabbat and prayed in this synagogue that had 10 or 12 or 14 old men. And he and I were the only young ones, and we used to talk and get chastised for talking by the old man who ran the place. And it was a very warm, lovely...
But it was the openness which you liked. And you were also able to question at the Stiebel.
Correct. It was human. It was warm. It was Jewish. I left there with a warm feeling, even though I did not know very much, and had my Jewish background was so limited. I mean, they conducted the entire service in Hebrew, and while I could read Hebrew at that point, I don't think I ever, to this day, understood it.
Your bar mitzvah is a turning point in many things in your life. Because as we were saying when we got together, many people at that time who were bar mitzvahed, they got a fountain pen, or they got a $25 U.S. savings bond, which cost $18.50, which equaled $25. But you at your bar mitzvah, and you hadn't seen your father that much over the years, it was infrequent, but your father came to your bar mitzvah. What happened?
Well, I intended to have a bar mitzvah like my friends did in the banquet hall. I think they were always called banquet halls of B'nai Isaac Synagogue.
The one on West 7th.
The one on between West 8th and West 9th. And that is what I did. And we invited relatives and friends. And I remember my inner pocket being filled with these envelopes, which were mostly $25 at face U.S. savings bonds. I also remember, it's funny how memory is so peculiar, that my mother had a boyfriend at that time who I liked very much. His name was Ben. And I remember the envelopes becoming so weighty in my jacket that I took all these envelopes out and I gave them to him to carry for me. While, of course, I should have given them to my father because he was my father, but I was much more comfortable doing that with Ben. But what happened that day is that my father, who had been gambling with a stockbroker, and that stockbroker had conned him, persuaded him to buy 100 shares of two different stocks. I don't know if it was well-planned or spontaneous, but he came to me and he said, "Here, this is for you." He spoke in a deep, gravelly voice. This was
Saul, right?
This was Saul, exactly. And he gave me these 100 shares of Penn-Dixie Cement and Columbia Gas, which at the time had a total value of $5,300. And $5,300 was more money than I knew existed in the world. It was a huge amount of money, and it changed my life. I mean, he told me I would be responsible. So I immediately began to request research reports from various brokerages, and I'd go down after school to Bache & Company in downtown Brooklyn and sit in the brokerage office with the old men who were smoking cigars and watching the ticker tape, and then there indeed was a ticker tape. And sometimes I'd go to
Grand Central.
To Grand Central, and Merrill Lynch had a very attractive office there, and they had fountains, and I used to pick up their research reports and take them home and read them intensely. It became, at that age of 13 and 14, the overwhelming interest in my life.
Now, you were a good student. You got into the 2-year SP program at that time. And
yes.
And then at that time also, you still had a religious belief. You were putting on tefillin.
Yes, I put on tefillin every morning up until the age of 16.
Now, at the age of 16, you were thinking that you were going to go to City College or to the Baruch College of the City University, and then your dad met with you again. What happened then?
One day in the spring, my father asked me to have dinner with him, and I did. And I think the name of the steakhouse that
was Mrs. J's Sacred Cow on West 72nd Street.
Correct. I don't remember the Mrs. J, but I remember the Sacred Cow. And we went in there, And he was there already. And he asked me at that time what school I was going to, and I told him that I was going to Bernard Baruch because it was one of the colleges of the city university, and if you had a grade average, I think it was then above 85, you went for free. So I was going to Bernard Baruch because I was interested in business, interested in the stock market, and that seemed the totally logical place to go. It was the only school I had applied to. And he looked at me and he shook his head, and you could tell he was starting to think, and he said, listen, I don't think you should go there. There's this school in Philadelphia that I think you should go to, because when I read the Sunday social section of the New York Times, they have a large number of seemingly wealthy Jewish girls marrying seemingly wealthy Jewish boys who had gone to this school, and then he remembered the name, the Wharton School. And I said, oh. So he said, I want you to apply there. I did apply there. I was late, but I got in by the skin of my teeth, and I went to Wharton. And again,
now, you were 16 years of age.
Yes, sir.
You'd never known anything about Philadelphia. You definitely didn't know anything about Wharton. And your roommate was somebody whose family were from the Navy or something?
Yeah, my roommate in my freshman year was a man named David Irving. And David Irving had a father who was a naval captain. And he himself came from Virginia. And he was very different than I was. But we got along well, and we had a lovely year together. And that was the beginning of my school career.
Now, you were 16 when you started Wharton, and you said to me you finished school in 3 years because you went to NYU.
Correct.
The reason was why?
I went through in 3 years because I was insecure about my father's giving me money to pay for the last years of college, because he always gave me the impression that he lived sometimes from hand to mouth, and sometimes from gambling, and sometimes from jewelry, but I clearly had the sense that he didn't have much. And he didn't give that much to my mother, who was working as a bookkeeper,
as you said.
And I think she was given $50 a month by him to take care of me.
Now, so you did it in 3 years, but when you were at Wharton, you decided to get involved with Hillel. Why did you get involved with Hillel at that time?
Well, I think as soon as I got to the University of Pennsylvania and found my room, I had heard that you can get meals from Hillel, kosher meals, not that I was particularly kosher, and I went straight there, and my mother was still there for that first night, and we had a meal in Hillel, and Hillel was the place that I went to more than any other in my first and perhaps even second year at Penn.
So when you were at Wharton, were you trading also?
Soon after I started to read this stuff, I began to trade, which wasn't so easy because the broker had to accept the orders of a minor, but I got over that, and I soon began to trade. I'd listen to all sorts of people, speak to all sorts of people, and I think that my trading in the early days was unsuccessful. I think I lost more than I won.
But when you were going to Wharton, what was your thoughts? Did you always think you were going to become a trader?
I never thought of myself as a trader. I thought of myself as an analyst,
Right.
as a research analyst, and that's really what I thought I was.
So when you graduated at 19, you said to me you had an interview with MetLife or something, but how did you end up at this firm called Calvin Bullock's? This
Bullock.
white shoe.
Yes, it was a white shoe mutual fund management company that whose office was at 1 Wall Street, and I applied for a job there, and I got the job as a research assistant, and I loved it. it was great joy for me to be surrounded by people who are focused on the stock market, and I learned a great deal. And I stayed there for 2 years in this program as a research assistant, and then I left and went to Europe for one summer, came back, and went into the Army.
You went to the Army before Israel?
I went to Israel first. I went to Europe for a summer, and that was the first time I went to Israel.
Right.
And when I came back, I went to the Army.
Why did you go to Israel? What was okay, you had the underlying bar mitzvah, you remember the Shtipel experience, you had the Hillel experience. What was bringing you at 22 years of age in 1962 to the state of Israel?
When I went to Penn, I brought my tefillin at the age of 16, but stopped using them, and they remained in my drawer. And during my college experience, my thoughts changed, and I became an atheist. And it was maybe very pedestrian and sophomoric, but it wasn't that to me at that time. I really thought a lot about God and his existence or lack thereof, and it became an important part of my life. I remember once coming home on Yom Kippur and blatantly eating in front of my family, showing them how the disdain I had for our religion. And somehow Israel became a substitute for me for the Jewish religion.
So how long were you in Israel that summer?
A few weeks. I was there by myself, and I loved it, and I felt all the rush and the excitement of a young Jew going through Israel and seeing the historic sites and all the young people in uniform, and the fact is that from that point through today, I still feel this deep emotional, and at times I'm tempted to say irrational, tie to Israel. I loved and love Israel.
So you come back from Israel, and you do, like many people, including yours truly over here, you join the Army Reserve.
Correct.
And you're stationed at Fort Dix.
Correct.
And then you finish the Fort Dix program, and you come back, and you now start working for the financial world?
When I got back, I took a job writing for a magazine called Financial World. And I had a rather pedestrian job, the title of which was News and Views on Investments. And I would write a paragraph or two on some company that had been in the news over the last week. And that's pretty much what I did for maybe 6 or 8 months. And I met somebody there who I remember was a stamp collector. And he introduced me to one of the senior analysts at a firm called Loeb, L-O-E-B, Rhodes. And I left Financial World, and I joined the research department of Loeb Rhodes, and I was responsible for the cyclical world at Loeb Rhodes, the steels and the autos and machinery and stuff like that. That became my professional universe.
And you were able to figure out what these companies would earn. And I believe one story, you were a penny off on General Motors, right?
Yes, I used to go to great lengths to try to predict the quarterly earnings per share by the penny. and I did it really well. You know, you went through the balance sheet and you looked at the number of cars sold, and you looked at Automotive Week and whatever else seemed relevant, and I did that. It was barely relevant to my ability to pick the stocks prices, but I was good at picking
So how
earnings.
do you leave the research to get involved with an entity of a new type of product called hedge fund, which was started maybe 20 years before?
Less. The first hedge funds were maybe in the late 50s, early 60s, but when I think I helped start ours, I think there were maybe 7
Right.
or 8 or
This is
9 hedge
nine-
funds.
This is 1967.
Exactly.
1967, you're 27 years of age.
Right.
And then you had the delicatessen team, Fine and Berkowitz, both
Steinhardt, Fine, Berkowitz, yeah.
okay, both Wharton graduates, right?
Right.
How'd you meet the two of them?
I met Howard because he and I, independent of each other, were involved in a paper stock called Allied Paper. So we started speaking about that. We spoke more and exchanged ideas. And I, as my career at Loeb Rhodes evolved, was given responsibility for conglomerates. And conglomerates were companies that were viewed a little bit askance on Wall Street,
Like Gulf and Weston.
like Gulf and Western and City Investing and Studebaker Worthington, and they were generally speaking viewed poorly because they didn't grow through internal growth. They grew through acquisitions, and there was something a little bit uncomfortable about that. But at that particular moment, somehow conglomerates were gaining favor, and I began to recommend some, and it was almost as if the God I don't believe in, was sitting on my shoulder,
saying, hey, Steinhardt, start something.
and he and almost everything I touched did well. So much so that at one point I recommended over the weekend a stock called Studebaker Worthington, another conglomerate, and they couldn't open the stock on Monday because the imbalance of orders was so great because of my recommendations. That's the
Your
background.
attorney, who I did his life, Paul Roth, didn't even know what a hedge fund was at that time.
That's probably true.
So it was a different time.
It was an early time, and he became our lawyer, who we had for the entire period of our existence. And
So what we're going to do in part 2 is we're going to talk about the beginnings of the firm, following the career, and then into some of your charitable involvements.
my pleasure.